everybody, and welcome to the MetaTailor live stream. We're going to give it a couple minutes, as always. Let me post on Discord. Let me grab our Discord link. Hello, hello, hello. I can only keep this on for a couple minutes before I have to take it off. This was not made for an adult. Hello, hello. We are live. Everything pulled up. We got some fun stuff today. Giving it a minute. Welcome to the MetaTailor live stream. Welcome. Hello, everybody. All right. That's got to come off now. Hi, and welcome to the MetaTailor live stream. Today, we're looking at a couple of fun things. Give it one more minute before we jump into it. Let people join us. Let people hop on. We announced it on Discord. We're ready to go. And we'll talk about what we're looking at today. And we have something new. A fun new update. That's coming along. Not ready yet. Almost ready. All right. Oh, let's get the music playing too. Oh, the music going. There we go. You can see the marks that left on my face. That was not a mask meant for an adult. We have fun because it's Halloween season. It's spooky season. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it. Hello, and welcome everybody to the MetaTailor live stream. So today we are looking at just once again the MetaTailor pipeline. It's our behind the scenes series, the last video in our behind the scenes series. We're gonna be taking a look at just a generic pipeline again today. I've got 2 outfits and 1 avatar. I'm just gonna bring them in, upload them, take a look at them, talk to you about my thought process and how I tackle them. We're gonna take a peek at Maya and how I export them out and get them ready for MetaTailor. So just, like I said, this is my general workflow using MetaTailor for everyday purposes. So stick around, we're gonna go through that. We also have a fun little update I'm gonna show everybody, something that is coming down the pipeline. It's not ready yet, but I do have a fun video of something we have been working on. It's a small update, teeny tiny update, but something, a little bite, a little fun nibble for everybody to take a look at. So if you like videos like this one, if you want to see more videos like this one, please make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and of course, follow us on Discord. I dropped the Discord link in the chat. I will drop it again at the end of the stream. Follow us on Discord. Our Discord community is amazing. We've got great customer service in there. If you have any questions, concerns, quandaries about anything you're running into, if you run into hiccups or errors, we're there to help you out. So feel free to join us on Discord. The other great reason to join us there is that's where we announce these streams. We might be taking a little bit of a pause from live streams for a little bit as we iron out what our next things are, what our next steps are. So make sure you're following us on Discord to see what the next set of videos are, what the next set of live streams are. That's where we will push out that announcement. And the third and final amazing reason to follow us on Discord is when we have new updates, like the one I'm going to show you a tidbit of today, is we announce them first on Discord, and sometimes we have secret live streams on Discords for our Discord followers who get to see it first before anybody else. So it is definitely worth it to join us on our Discord channel. So that's it for my announcements. Let's go ahead and jump into it and talk about MetaTailor. Go into MetaTailor. I'm gonna jump over to my desktop. How big's my head? Oh, super tiny. Let's make it a little bit bigger. There we go. All right, so I've got these three characters right here. I've got Ghostface, the classic slasher. I've got a werewolf from Skyrim, and I've got a vampire from Castlevania. I've got Alucard. And what I've started out with today is I'm just going to take a look at them in Maya. So the first one I have right here is Ghostface. And he's got some odd transparency things in here, but you can see the model right here. This is what we're going to upload first. And so I pulled this character off of Sketchfab. You can find him on Sketchfab. It's super free, easy. All the characters, everything I use can be found for free online, usually through Sketchfab, Fab, or DeviantArt. Those are my three big places where I find all these characters and stuff like that. So this is just your typical Ghostface character. If I turn off textures, that transparency will go away. But all I did was combine all the meshes because the sleeves, the jacket, the little flaps, I don't know what to call them, the flaps under his arms right here, those were all separate meshes. So the only thing I did is combine and merge some vertices. I did make one note though. So the one thing I did do is I've kept the hood, the mask, and the robe separate. I had to delete a couple faces and like caps for underneath and in the arms, but I made sure to keep the hood and the robe separate to kind of work with our dynamic layering, to have our dynamic layering work properly. If I had these two combined, this mask would have a hard time kind of fitting inside it like it does right now. So that's something I did intentionally, and that's kind of why I wanted to start in Maya and talk about that. So that's what we're gonna be doing with Ghostface. Let's take a look at another one. I've already exported all of these out as FBXs. We've got other videos that walk you through how to do that. I'm just kind of showing you what our goal is, what we're trying to get into Maya, or get into MetaTailor out of Maya. This next one is a werewolf avatar we're going to try to dress. We're going to see how well it does with the kind of bent reverse knee and see how we can do with pants on this character and walk you through that. This one's a little risky. I don't know how well it's going to work out the gate. We might have to do some playing with it to get it to work nicely because he is oddly shaped. And a lot of times when you have monstrous creatures, sometimes MetaTailor struggles a little bit, but we will discover that together. So I've got this character we're going to throw into Mixamo and get a rig in Mixamo and then take that rig character out of Mixamo and into MetaTailor. So this is a werewolf. He's ripped from Skyrim. He's a really low poly version ripped from Skyrim, but just a fun little werewolf we'll try to get dressed. And then our final one, the one I think I'm most excited for that we're going to take a look at, is this vampire character from Castlevania. Netflix's Castlevania. This one was for, I'm trying to remember where it was pulled from. But this is Alucard. It's from a video game. I think maybe Fortnite or something like that. But yeah, so this was a video game character of the Castlevania character Alucard. Got them all ready to go. You can notice I did a couple things in Maya besides combining the jacket into one piece and the pants into one piece. I've deleted one boot and I've deleted one glove. The other thing we're not going to be bringing in is we're not going to be bringing in his head because he doesn't have enough body to bring in a full avatar. So we're just going to be bringing in hair, cape, coat, glove, boot, and pants. But those are just some of the things I did in Maya beforehand, before this stream, to tell everybody like, hey, this didn't come this way. I did have to do a little pre-work in my pipeline. All right, so those are the three characters we're taking a look at today. And to give everybody that little bit of a tidbit, that little bit of nugget of an update, here's an update that is coming. I'm going to go ahead and go to just the desktop for a moment and play this. So you can see right here, he's got the textures and all this other stuff right here. We can adjust your textures and make changes. But what's cool is you can change some of these base colors like you see right here. And with that, that color will bake down into the texture. It will update the texture before any color changes you make. First off, any color changes you made currently in the system, if we make any color changes that we do today, that does not bake down into the mesh. That only exists in MetaTailor. And the other thing is it's an overall wash. You wash over the entire outfit. You can see this was like color picking out those panels inside that shirt and changing those colors, and that will bake down into those textures. That will bake down into those maps. So that's something that's really cool. Coming down the pipeline, baking down those colors, baking down those textures so you can have a little bit more customization. I don't have an exact deadline or a date for that. That is just something we're working on that I got permission to show. All right, let's go ahead and jump into MetaTailor, and let's start with Ghostface. So, starting out in MetaTailor, ready to go, got all my avatars up. Let's go ahead and hit new project. And we want a male project. We want a male, we want a muscular male. And we're gonna call it Ghostface. Is it 2 words, 1 word? I wrote it as 1 word for Maya purposes, but let's go ahead and create Ghostface. So we've got our avatar right here. And so this is really simple. Once again, we're going through the pipeline of how to bring stuff in. What would I do? I would just go into import and just grab the 3 pieces. Hit my desktop where I've got Ghostface hiding right here. And you can see I've got the hood, the mask, and the robe. So let's go ahead and start with the robe. Brings it in for us. It's got all those nice textures. There's the color map. I'm pretty sure this doesn't have a normal map. If it had a normal map, it'd be under my textures. Nope, just body, hood, and mask. And one really neat thing is if you're working on this and doing something like I'm doing, if you set up a couple of textures beforehand in Maya, MetaTailor, and export it out that way, MetaTailor is smart enough to reattach those textures for you. You don't have to go down and hunt those again. So that's making my life a little bit easier. For Alucard, I think I'm gonna have to drop at least the normal maps in there because I did not do that. But I'm gonna call it the Ghost Face Robe up here, change the name, and here's the materials if I needed to change those materials. So like I said, right now, if I wanted to go in and add a little saturation and change the hue, you can see it's an overarching broad change. The whole thing has got a little blue tint to it. We are changing that, so eventually you'll be able to bake that down into the actual color texture right here instead of just adding a wash on top of it. And the other benefit to that is this wash on top of it doesn't bake down. It just exists in MetaTailor. All right, so I'm really happy with this robe. Let's go ahead and hit next step. So there will be something tricky with this. Let's go ahead and call this, let's call this a full body. It keeps source dimensions. It keeps it tiny. It is rotated 90 degrees. That's something you could fix in Maya and try to re-import. I'm just gonna import it as it is to show you guys how we would do this. And then let's take it and just kind of rotate it. Oops, not that way, 90 degrees this way. So it's not too bad. One of the initial problems we will run into, and it's a little big, so I'll scale it down just a little bit. Aiming for that neck. That neck is my magic placeholder for, okay, how big is this actually? So if I can get that to fit around the neck comfortably, then I can get the rest of the body to match. And that's fitting pretty comfortably. And that matches. We can get some jeans and stuff under there, so that's looking pretty good. So one of my concerns with this, of course, is going to be these tassels. These robe pieces right here, these kind of shreds right here. These will probably skin weight. Oh my gosh, I'm not even on myself. Let's start over. Let's roll it back. I was talking. Let me show you everything I'm doing here. Reset. Confirm. Cancel. Let's bring it back home. Don't save. All right, that's my bad. I went for about a minute there. All right, so I'm in MetaTailor now. I'm in MetaTailor properly. You can all see me and MetaTailor at the same time. Woo, there we go. All right, so I'm in MetaTailor. I've got my ghost face model. I'm gonna close this model. Let's delete this. Let's walk you through it from the beginning as if this never happened. Delete. All right, new project. And I started with this muscle mail. This is I'm in the newest version of MetaTailor. I'm also in a secret dev version, so you might not have the most up-to-date version if you're not a pro member and stuff like that, but this is really cool. When you hit new project, you can choose muscle mail right here, and I'm just gonna name it Ghostface. You can choose your body type or bring in your own custom avatar. Let's go ahead and hit confirm. All right, so here I am. I've got my character, and the only thing we missed is I hit import right here, and I found my ghost face robe. Now, I was talking a little bit about color. I was talking about cranking up the saturation and changing the hue. And that's what I was talking about. So right now, our color is just overarching. It's just an overarching wash on the entire piece, and it doesn't bake down into the actual map itself. So instead, with our new update, it will bake down, and you'll be adjusting it properly. So I don't need to worry about the hue or saturation right now because I've got my own color map. All right, I'm going to change the name of this up here. Oh, it's because the saturation's gone. Ghost Face Robe. Like that, and hit next step. All right, and I called this a full body, like so, and I hit next step. So those are the only things I did before anybody really missed it, and I caught myself. So now we're gonna go ahead and rotate this so it's forward, so it's not 90 degrees. We'll bring it back, and we'll bring it up. And I'm gonna bring it up a little bit higher because I'm gonna scale that down. So I'm aiming for it to fit nicely around the neck, and that's fitting pretty nicely right there. Chest is sticking out a little bit, so I might scale it up just a tad bit more. Like that. There we go. I like the position of that. If you've watched any of my streams before, a little bit bigger. My goal, what I aim for is always the neck. If it fits around the neck nicely, I know it'll fit around the model nicely. I'll be able to position around the model. I know it's roughly the right size if I aim for that neck. All right, so that's all set. I'm happy with where that's placed, where that's rotated. I can hit confirm. And because this is in an A pose and my arms are in a T pose, I will have to do my pose match. I'll have to hit a start pose match and go through that. So we'll do that in a second. So one of the things I was talking about before I noticed I was not on here was these tassels, these kind of frayed edges right here. This is one of my concerns with this robe is they'll get skin weighted or weighted to the body instead of the arms. They won't be kind of free flowing, but that's something you can fix in the physics. So we're going to take a look at that. We're going to get the physics in there and fix that in the physics. In the main engine and the main design engine, they'll kind of be still attached to the body for any animations. But once we get into the physics, they'll kind of be more free flowing. So let's go ahead and start our pose match. I'm going to bring my shoulders in a little bit to start with because he's got very broad shoulders. Let's bring it down and bring it over. As the hips, I was aiming for you. There we go. Bring you in, and you're just going to position these into the right spot. Bring it back a little bit. Bring it forward, over. There we go. Bring it up. All right, so those arms are looking pretty good. Let's just get that elbow into a better position. Like so, and I think I'll just bring it down a little bit as well. All right, so you really only have to hit a 60% match because MetaTailor is really smart, but I was able to get that almost 100% in there. I am gonna bring the hips in a little bit, just to maybe try to avoid, just kind of cheat them inwards a little bit. Oh, that's the chest, I don't wanna do that, I want the hips. Just to try to avoid snagging this guy right here. I'll probably do the same to the knees as well. And let's give it a quick preview. So you can see these are still kind of hung down there. So can I move this over even more? Nope. So let's push those back out. It's doing too much. All right, that's better. Like I said, this is going to be something we'll be able to fix in our physics. Confirm, next step. All right, it looks cool. It looks really neat. The arms flowing out like that. It's just not matching perfectly right there, but that's okay. And you can see there's a couple instances here with the arms we'll have to clean up a little bit. So let's go ahead and grab some of our tools. These tools right behind my head are available to our pro users, and they are absolutely worth it. If you are not on pro, this is something you definitely want to get pro for, because we can kind of come in here and just add some volume under the arms right here. Get that into a place where it's not going to have the skin poke through. Hit confirm, take a look at it. Let's do it again, push pull. This time I'll hit sculpt layered so I can see it kind of on the actual model itself. Come back here, that's looking good. Come back here, and so you can see just small touch-ups like that help sell that. I can grab my shrink wrap brush, just kind of aim around the neck up here and just kind of push that down a little bit more. Have that be a tighter fit right in there. Underneath the arms as well, just kind of shrinking that up in there. See, I gotta overcompensate a little bit, gotta come back under here. Got shrink wrapping nicely. Ooh, I like the look of that. Just across her chest a little bit better. She's got a nice big chest. Just some light painting. All right, and then I'll go ahead and grab that push pull again and just boop, 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 boop. All right, this is coloring. All right, now let's grab our grab brush. And let's see if I can't physically move some of this over without getting too close. I can. There's multiple pieces here. That's the only problem. You can see that in here, but at least I could pull them away from the body. So they don't feel like they're attached to the body per se. They're just more like flowing naturally. And that'll also help us with painting later on when we go to paint the physics into them. So that's another reason I'm just going to pull these over. Just give us some space between this and the body. A little bit more space. And it's doing a really good job. I could probably even have made that brush a little bit bigger. I'm kind of happy with where it is. I can make it bigger now. Make more broad changes like that. All right, that's looking pretty good. I like the look of that. Let's take a peek at these physics right off the bat. Let's take a look at this. Physics preview. Auto, oops, let's wait for it to load. Make sure I've got the robe set auto-generate parameters. Oh, that's looking good. And let's add running. That's pretty good. Let's add a catwalk. Let's go back to our bind pose and manually paint these parameters on this. Paint blending. Got a really big brush. Let's turn that down a little bit. And there we go. This is where we can really kind of create some very wild. Strength is turned all the way up. Let's do the other side. Make sure these are super loose. You can see them bouncing around back there really nicely. Make sure the backs are the same. Yeah, look at that. And then I can even pull on it, test it. And if I wanted to, I could turn that strength down, turn my radius down a little bit. Oops, a little bit lower strength again. There we go. Just kind of darken up the chest area where I want it to hold a little bit tighter. A little bit more stiff. Like I'm looking up in there. Maybe even darker. There we go. Maybe in the arm a little bit. Same with this side. Just the places I don't want it to kind of like tear through. Like that. There we go. Because this looks like it's a really thin mesh. A little bit in the back here. There we go. That's looking pretty good. Let's hit confirm. You can see those are nice, thin, and floppy. Now let's check our run. It's going a little crazy as they're clipping each other, but it has got the right weight to it. You do a skin weights test. That's cool. Look at that. So even though they aren't initially correct, you could always go in and fix that a little bit. Like that. So even though these are off flown there, you can get that looking really nice in your physics preview and getting that the way it is. All right, let's get the hood in here. Let's get that in here. Let's go ahead and hit import, cloth and accessories, ghost hood. This one did not grab the color map. That's okay. I'll go to my textures and there's the hood. Awesome. Next step, we're gonna call this a hat. Put it on the head. Next step. Get that into place, scale it up, up, down, back. There we go. Maybe up just a little bit bigger. Just a bit more this way. There we go. I don't need to pose match this one because it's just like an accessory piece and it'll sit right there. Look at how well that's sitting. And we can still go to our viewport settings and get it running in there. And it sits nicely. Bind pose. All right, the last piece on this character before we jump into getting that werewolf in here. Import, cloth and accessory, ghost face. Let's grab the actual mask itself. The classic. It doesn't have the color map. I don't think it needs it, but we'll throw it on there anyway. It does make it a little bit more creepy. Now I had the option of deleting out the back, but I did decide not to because you're not supposed to be able to see the face underneath it if you're going for the typical ghost face mask. If you're going for more of a horror vibe, you don't want to be able to see who's behind the mask. And let's take it and let's rotate it. Let's scale it up. Put it right over his face. We scale back a little bit. Scale down just a little bit. I feel like it's a little big. Confirm. No pose match. Next step, let's get it actually applied. So right now it's on top of the hood, so it's trying to tuck that hood in there. And so the reason why I kept that hood separate from the actual outfit is so I was able to just kind of click that and have that hood kind of stay over it. And there we go. We got a pretty creepy character. Let's give him a couple of blue jeans and shoes because we don't want him running around barefoot. So I should definitely have some jeans in my content browser. I got these awesome Indigo Classic Slims, which are part of our marketplace. And once again, it's going to try to put those over the robe, so drag those down beneath our robe with our amazing dynamic layers. And how about some shoes? We got the Zoe shoes, we got the cheerleading shoes, American football shoes, some firefighter shoes. I think these boots right here are pretty good, except that's 2 shoes. I'm gonna do the cheerleading shoes, because those feel like just kind of classic sneakers. And mirror that over. You know what he needs? You know what we're forgetting here? Forgetting a knife. I've got this wicked orc knife, this plague knife. What's this knife? That is like a knife that goes on a belt. I can place that there, but I'm going to delete that knife. Let's look under my accessories. If anything else is a little bit more vicious. Ooh, the axe is pretty good. Bloody nurse blade. There's that orc knife. Link sword. Sci-fi dagger. Give him that axe. Zombie farmer axe. I know typically it's a slasher with a actual like kitchen knife. This works too. Connect to the left hand, that's fine. That way when I go to my viewport, I can do a sword and shield attack. Oh, it's in the other hand. Let's do got a nice scary pose like here. There we go. Awesome. That's pretty frightening. I'm gonna save that. All right, so like I said, typical pipeline. I could then go in and I could export this out, send it to Unreal, send it wherever I want it, bring it back into Maya, anything that I could need. I could bring those physics maps over to Unreal if I wanted to. I could send this over to Character Creator 5 if I had a Character Creator 5 character there. But there we go, we got Ghostface in here. And if you're interested in all that exporting and then getting it in Unreal, we did do that last stream. So go pop over to our last stream last week, and we did specifically look at exporting in Unreal and in just getting it out of MetaTailor without using the bridge if you don't have access to our amazing bridge. All right. So let's talk about an avatar. So we've got that werewolf that we took a look at from Skyrim, but it needs a rig. Before I can import this into here by using a custom avatar, I do need to go to take this and create a rig. We did this a little bit last week. I'm going to do it again today because it is so powerful. Mixamo works hand in hand with MetaTailor, so I highly recommend using this. I can go to upload a character, and it wants a character file, so let's go ahead and hop over to my werewolf right here. And this is where I exported out that werewolf as just a plain FBX, and I can bring that right into here. So if you have an avatar, if you've got a character that does not have a rig, this is the fastest way to get it into rig to get it working in MetaTailor. So we've got the character right here, it wants us to orient it. There it goes. Forward orient it, there we go. Give it a chin. Give our wrists, our elbows, our knees, and our groin. Let's see how this does this kind of odd-shaped character. Let's see if it knocks its bones in properly. This will kind of give us a heads up on whether or not the werewolf will work or not in MetaTailor. Because everything works off of these bones. It just takes a beat. There it goes. It's doing pretty good. Let's hit next step. A few characters have been uploaded. Yeah, it's yelled at us from the zombie from last week. You want to get rid of it? Yes, I do. I want to take a look at... Let's look at hip hop dancing on this character. Oh, wow. Look, it nailed its feet almost perfectly. Look at that. So that's a really good sign. Let's close out of this. Let's download this guy. FBX T-pose. I don't want the original pose. Let's put it in a T-pose. Download. Only because I feel like the original pose is twisted. It's turned. All right, let's go to werewolf. And I'm going to call this my werewolf mix. And save. All right, I'm going to move this over here just in case that T-pose doesn't look good. We'll do the original pose. And let's go ahead and hit new project. And once again, hit that custom avatar. This time I can go to my desktop, grab my werewolf, and grab that werewolf mixamo right here, and open. Call it werewolf. There he is. Awesome. All right, so if I wanted to apply a pose, I could apply a pose. And I'll put it in a T-pose for me. I call my werewolf mix. I'm just going to take off that mix for this. The scale is 1. What if I did 2? What if I did 3? Ooh, not 23. What if I did 3? 3 is about 8 foot. That feels appropriate. I feel like they'd be 2 feet taller than us. Let's do a 2.5. A 7 foot. Perfect. Do I want that pose? Nah, I'll keep it in this pose. You can see it's kind of clipping on the shoulders there. All right, it has its texture map. Did this come with a normal map? Let's find out. It did. And we're on the body. That's looking good. I could drop down to my eyes. I got eyes, eye diffuse, eye normal map. I don't think it's going to do anything, but it did have an eye emission map right here. Meaning the eyes, oh, that's cool, will glow a little bit. Let's go to the head. The head had a normal map. And the mouth had a normal map. Just make those gums and teeth look a little scarier. So he's looking really good. So let's take this avatar, hit next step. Now this is our mesh extractor. Our mesh extractor is an amazing tool if he came in with an outfit. If Alucard had more of an avatar within him, I could do this for the Alucard character. But the mesh extractor works exceptionally well with character creator 4 and 5 because those have characters underneath their outfits. It also works off of anything from Sketchfab, DeviantArt. It's just with an avatar that comes in with clothes already. It lets you split off those clothes and import all the clothes in an instant. So it's a really helpful tool for that reason. But this character doesn't need the mesh extractor, so we'll go ahead and hit next step. And we got this auto mapping. Let's just go ahead and double check it. It did good on the elbows and the wrists. The arms are looking pretty good. Skull base, neck base looks like they got flipped around. We have to fix the nipple, but the leg, the knee, the heels and toes are struggling. So for the heel, what I think we're gonna do, I'll leave the toe where they are, but for the heel, I'll probably pull that into right here because it's gonna force that heel down a little bit. And I don't wanna put that heel up here. You don't want him to walk flat-footed on that part of his foot. So I'm going to call this kind of like the ball of his foot right here, the heel. Just because he's monstrous and odd. That also means shoes will only cover this part of the foot, which is okay. I think that's appropriate. I think that's how a werewolf would wear shoes. Bring the knee forward and back over. I just want to bring it a little bit closer to the front of the knee here. Same with this knee. It's in the right position. I'm just giving it that little push forward. He's also slightly asymmetrical, it seems. Which means I'll bring this knee up a little bit. There we go. There we go. Leg R, leg L. That's looking good. So his belly is out here. I will be moving that belly in a little bit closer to where his actual stomach is, down here. Whatever this song is, it is very annoying. I'm going to jump past this one. All right. Question, do you think 3D is not respected because of AI content creation? But I say this, AI is amazing. I use it. Control over your creation, AI does not have and will never have once AI comes to 3D for skilled 3D artists like Photoshop did to canvas artists. It will only add to the art form that is 3D. Good work, by the way. Thanks, Ish from Fan Group. AI is an interesting thing. So, I mean, AI has lots of facets. I think AI can be very helpful. I can feel like AI can be very destructive. It's how you use it. And if you use it responsibly and you know what you're doing and you're aware of the ramifications of using AI and avoid using it in erroneous ways, I think AI can be a very powerful tool. But right now, MetaTailor does not use AI. Does not stop you from bringing AI into MetaTailor. But my thoughts on AI are my own, and I don't think we have enough time on the stream to have an in-depth conversation on my thoughts on AI. But that's me personally, once again. I am not saying it is bad or good in any way, shape, or form. Everybody is welcome to make their own decisions on that. But I recognize that AI is probably here for a long time. So you can see I kind of brought the skull crown forward. I brought the nose tip forward. I'm bringing the skull base forward. It had a hard time because he's got this monstrous head. I'm going to bring the neck base up to like here. Cool. I think that's pretty set. I like the look of that. I think I nailed all those landmarks pretty well. Let's go ahead and hit next step. I'm going to peek over here. Perfect. All right, let's get some clothes on it. Let's try it. Let's try to get some clothes on it. Let's try some baggy stuff. Let's go to our marketplace. Let's see what we got in our marketplace. The marketplace is a tool that is available for everybody in the sense that you could purchase stuff from our fellow artists. You can do that by clicking on artist right here and choosing one of our amazing artists. Creative Commons is stuff that's available for free online that we have brought in for you. But you can see we've got Javi and Neural AI and Quantum State Studio. We've got our amazing artists. Anybody can come in and purchase from them. These are artists just like yourself, and you can apply to be an artist down here. But everything else in here that is a MetaTailor related, I can find a piece by hovering over it and seeing a little MetaTailor logo. This is stuff that is available to pro users. This entire library is available to our pro users. So if you are interested in a massive library of clothes that is ever growing and ever expanding, please join pro and take a look at the MetaTailor selection. So I've got all this stuff in here, and I was looking for, I'm not going for zombie this time. I'm not going for a dress. I'm looking for something like slightly baggy, a little bit loose fitting. These classic smart professional pants might be good. I'm looking for, I'm not 100% positive what I'm looking for in here. So I don't mind this Wasteland scavenger jacket because it's got a little bit of an opening right here. I think that could go well. But I'm just kind of perusing and browsing to see what would this werewolf wear. Survivor Last Stand pants. Let's throw those on there. They look a little rough and ready. Let's throw those pants on there and we'll do the Survivor Last Stand shirt. It doesn't feel like zombie rotting, super covered in blood, but there's a little bit of blood on it. Let's hit apply, and then once that shirt's ready, oh, it did those pants almost perfectly. It's having a hard time with those heels. So maybe we should have put those heels upwards a little bit. Maybe that was an error in our part. So let's grab our character right here and do edit landmarks. Let's bring that heel up. Maybe I was wrong. I've never done a monster character like this. So maybe I was wrong and I should have put our heel up here. Hit confirm. Let's delete these pants. Let's go back to our marketplace. How's that? Oh, it should be in our content browser. Yep. Apply those pants again. Their new landmarks. Oh my gosh, that worked perfectly. It just works. It just works. There's a little bit in the butt over here. I can do a little cleanup back here, and we'll do that in a second. But before we do that, let's take a look at our shirt. Guys, these patches, these holes in here, these are part of the shirt. The back needs some work. These are part of the shirt right here. That's how that's supposed to look. Oh my gosh, that worked amazing. That worked way better than I thought it was going to. All right, let's go ahead and do sculpt layered. Let's grab our grab brush and just kind of give us a massive... Let's do push pull and to give us a massive radius. Just kind of pull this stuff out here. Back here under the legs. My personal motto for MetaTailor from these streams, what I'm always so enamored with, what I'm always so happy with, is it just works. I pulled this guy out of nowhere. I pulled this guy off a Sketchfab with no idea or thought if it's going to work or not. And it just 5 clicks, 10 clicks, get a couple landmarks back into place, and it worked perfectly, guys. Perfectly. Where else can you just do that? No other program will let you just do that. Now I'm just cleaning it up a little bit. Some of these patches and stuff like that. And hit confirm. Let that redraw. He's got a little bit of a badonk. It just worked. The same thing for the back of the shirt. For the shirt, I might just scale it up a little bit. And move it down a little bit more. Move it back a little bit more. Get us a little bit bigger here. Do something like that. Maybe something like that a little bit. Now hit confirm. We've scaled it up pretty large. Okay, didn't love that. So let's bring it back down a little bit. Bring it down again. Confirm this time. All right, so the front of the shirt's looking good. Back of the shirt's looking better. So now I've got a little bit better room in here. Now that I've made those adjustments to, once again, grab that push-pull and just kind of really big brush. It's going to have like tear out the back a little bit, I think, with that hump. I can't imagine his werewolfian hump would be perfectly wrapped up by the shirt. I think he would tear it. Like, I think that's good character design. But like in the shoulder here. Grab our grab brush too, bring it kind of down a little bit. It's tough because it's like inside the model in here. So I'm trying to make adjustments to something that's inside. Take my shrink wrap though, maybe shrink wrap up here on top of the arm, back here. That's looking pretty good. For just dropping in an avatar, a random werewolf avatar with some wild clothes. What about boots? Let's throw the cowboy boots on. What do the boots look like with the heels? So this is the juxtaposition between the heels. So because I put those heels up there, he wears his shoes like that. So to get the pants to work, the heels have to be wrong. To get the shoes to work, the pants have to be wrong. So that's kind of your toss up here. Just because it's a monstrous character. This is not a human character. I can't expect human clothes to fit on this guy normally. So I had to make I have to make that one concession. But these pants are spot on. And he's got his big werewolf feet. I don't think we need shoes on this character. I don't think shoes would look good on this character. But yeah. So I think that worked surprisingly very well. So let's get some movement on this guy. Because he's a Mixamo character, he can run. Ooh, that's scary. He can give an uppercut, but I don't know why he would be punching. He can climb up. Give him a stylish point. Almost looked like he was dabbing. Dabbing werewolf. Hit the dab. All right. So there's an avatar. There's kind of just my general workflow for an avatar. Now let's do my favorite one, the one I've been looking forward to. Let's get Alucard in here. What's your take on triangles versus quads? I mean, personally, I like quads for the clean typo, but for game engines, triangles work better. But you and I are riggers at heart, and I love quads for math. Am I wrong? No, you're not wrong. So what I tell my students is technically all quads are already triangles. Technically, programs like Maya are drawing that diagonal line in there. It's just hiding that line. So all those quads are already triangles. The benefit of quads comes from your edge flow and just being able to kind of track around the object, look for those landmarks, create that the deformations that you want. But that's the difference between tries and quads. When you start getting into engons, there is, at least in my age, I've been working in Maya for a very long time. We always avoided engons. We wanted to avoid pentagons and 6-sided figures and 8-sided figures and stuff like that, faces, because those were always considered bad. But there's this new wave coming through, and it's not, new wave isn't like the right term. It's just this little sect of modelers and riggers who are like, engons aren't bad, and they're bringing in proof and bringing in examples of them being used in Pixar films as saddle joints and areas, especially for deformation in the arms, that an engon with 6 or 7 sides is actually perfectly fine or even better for deformations. So that, to me, is something to be more aware of, especially changing in the industry right now, is engons can be perfectly okay, and engons are used in Pixar characters and Pixar rigs. And then you see engons not working in other programs, or other programs having trouble reading engons. So that's something interesting that I feel like is slowly ballooning up and becoming more and more prevalent in today's day and age. So that's really interesting. But quads and tries, they're interchangeable. When you're working, when you're modeling, when you're rigging, when you're animating, quads are always just better visually. Tries just are, like you said, they perform better. But that's, like I said, Maya, technically all those quads are invisible tries. They're already tries. So it's a neat argument, a neat discussion point. But yeah. So that's my thoughts on that. Hopefully, don't be humble. I am learning every day. Like I said, the fact that my entire career I thought engons were evil and bad, and now I'm learning engons are a-okay. That's something new I am learning currently. That's just because I was taught that way. All right, back on to Alucard. Back on to MetaTailor. All right, so we're going to do a skinny male this time. Call it Alucard. Confirm. And so we got this skinny male. Let's go ahead and start bringing in this character. Like I said, I'm really excited for this character. This is one I would want to bring into a video game. Let me quick look. Do I still have my Alucard? It's Dead by Daylight. That's what it was. I can't believe I forgot that. So this model of Alucard was pulled from Dead by Daylight. So ripped from that game. And so I've got all these pieces right here that I've already exported. I'm going to start with the coat. So beautiful coat, beautiful vampire coat. Almost feels like it belongs in Twilight. Grab the normal maps, textures. Grab our torso. Just add a little bit more depth to that, a little bit more realism to that. Alucard coat, just add a space in there, and next step. Call that a jacket. One of our source dimensions, too small. And let's bring that in. So always with the collar, always looking at the neck. That is our judgment zone. So right around, that's almost perfect. I want to give it a little bit extra breathing room. It's fitting around that neck great. You can see it's really tight, but I don't need to be perfect. I could be a little bit wide and use my shrink wrap tool to bring it back down a little bit. And that's kind of what I'm aiming for. So I like the look of that. I think that is a more appropriate look to that. Next step, start our pose match. Our coat is almost in a T-pose. Not quite. Bring our hands down. Bring those out. Bring those shoulders in a little bit. Bring that elbow back a little bit and up a little bit. And once again, you don't have to be perfect. 60% accurate is perfectly fine. MetaTailor will take it the rest of the way. Let's bring this out a little bit. Make that a little bit wider. Let's do a preview pose wrap. That's looking good. I like the look of that. Confirm. Next step. Let's actually get it in there. All right, let's make it a little tighter in our chest area. Grab our shrink wrap tool. Big radius, always big radius, big strength, and just kind of bring that under here. Nice, strong. Maybe that's too strong. Let's tone down that strength a little bit, but nice big tool. Big fall off under here. Bigger fall off, make it bigger. I just wanted to bring in the chest. I wanted to keep those arms a little bit big. It's kind of giving him a hunchback, which I'm not loving the look of. So let's hit cancel. Let's hit reset. And let's hit cancel. Let's get a little bit thickness. Let's make it a little thicker. Let's just take our shrink wrap in. Let's bring the whole thing in. See, I wanted to avoid that on the gloves and on the neck there. You can take some of your yield, and that'll push some of that back out a little bit, you can see. So you can mess with your yield, which is going to give us our collar a little bit more stiffness. Bring that back out so our yield is out a little bit. It's also kind of affecting this down here, so that's why I would rather have the shrink wrap brush. I think honestly our shrink wrap brush is going to be our better bet. Tools, bring that yield back up a little bit. Let it take some of that. Take some of that in. Let's grab our shrink wrap. You can hit sculpt the original, that's fine. Just hit a couple taps in here. I don't know what it's hanging on to over here. This guy right here is not affecting the jacket. That's odd. We'll just kind of tippy tappy around here just to kind of get that looking good. Just quick little taps. Making quick, clean, small moves. Nothing big, nothing broad. I got a high strength. I'm just tapping. I'm just tapping really quick, very lightly. Make my radius smaller. Doesn't like that up in there. That's okay. Grab my smooth tool. Nice big brush. Kind of come in here. Smooth that out. Grab my relax. Same idea. Nice big brush. Ooh, not relax. Take that strength way down. And just confirm for now. There we go. Nice, that's looking a little better. A little cleaner. A little tighter around the chest. All right, let's bring in some other pieces. Let's bring in the pants. Vampire pants. What's your email or contact? You can reach out to me over Discord. I'm always happy to talk over Discord. I'm Mark on the MetaTailor Discord, but I do teach. I teach at colleges. That's what I do for fun outside of MetaTailor. Be my main people, my main place. Those pants are a little wacky on him. We'll have to do a little cleanup. I think it's they're high-waisted and it's having trouble understand high-waisted pants. Because he's supposed to be a gentleman. And confirm. Start pose match. We just need to bring those legs out a little bit. Bring those knees down a little bit. Over. So you can see I brought my knees down, which is technically making the legs look a little odd. But that's okay, because it's going to adjust the pants as it needs to. So I can even bring those heels, bring those heels down as I need it. And you can see it's making it weird, but when I do my preview pose wrap, it pushes that all up into the proper place. So that's kind of the reason for maybe cheating it a little bit or bringing it down into the wrong spot a little bit, is because something like that will help when you go to preview your pose wrap and get those pants into the proper spot, like so. All right, I like the look of that, so let's hit confirm. Next step, get those pants in there. That's looking good. Put those pants underneath the coat. I feel the same about my Blender. Keep updating with little funding compared to autos. Blender is fantastic. I gotta learn Blender. I haven't used Blender in a very long time. All right, let's get the boots in here. Boot. Normal map. Textures. Arms, cloak, head. I bet you no, it's under legs. Boot is under legs. Right here. There we go. Next step. Call this a shoe. Now, I always love one shoe instead of two shoes, because one shoe is a lot easier to get into position. I can scale this up way bigger and get that foot up into here. And you can see that's sitting right about the knee, which is great. It is a high heel. I don't think I clocked that this was a high heel. So we're going to use our tricks to get this heel working properly. And that trick is hiding the foot. not a very sophisticated trick, but a good trick nonetheless. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Scale it up just a little bit more. There we go. Confirm, do our pose match, but we do not want to pose match that heel coming up because it'll start to run into the same issue we saw with our werewolf. It's going to put that in the wrong position, but his leg does come inward a little bit, like so. If I want to, I can kind of bring that up a little bit for that same idea, kind of cheating it into position so it sits properly. When I do my preview pose wrap, it'll push that knee out. Ooh, but you can see here, I've created a new issue. So I'm going to mirror the X. I'm going to take the mirror the X away. I'm going to pull that leg away. Now let's hit preview pose wrap. There we go. So by doing that, it kind of forced this leather piece of the boot right here to not attach to this leg. So by kind of breaking that leg like that, I'm avoiding getting this piece to the wrong part of the body. And I can even, mirror X is still off. I can even bring this part of the foot over. I can bring this whole thing kind of over here. That way, once again, preview pose wrap, it all just moves properly without being affected by this other leg. So that's one of the ways you can cheat to make sure that doesn't happen. And next step. There we go. Our boot's in position. We do want that above our pants, but below our coat. Like so. Otherwise, it's going to try to put the pants over it, which kind of works, but that's not what I want. I want that right there. I meant to actually shrink wrap these pants a lot. Bring those pants in nice and tight. There we go. And now that I've got this nice boot in position, and actually it just kind of like enveloped the heel. You can see there's a little bit of the foot sticking out right here, which is not a big deal. I could take my visibility brush and I could sculpt that out of there. Like that. Just kind of hiding the foot right here. And hit confirm. I can leave the toes in there. That doesn't really matter. But yeah, so you can do that to kind of hide that foot, and I'll mirror this over. Now he's got a boot on both sides. He's looking really good. Got a little hiccup here in the pants, probably from the shrink wrap. Let's take the yield. Let's take our shrink wrap down. I don't know why these 2 points here are being odd. That tells me there's something wrong with the mesh itself. That's okay. These bigger pants didn't bother me because they get tucked into the boots just fine. All right, let's import some other pieces to this character. Let's go back to vampire. We got boot, we got a cape. Let's do his hair. Nice, big, elegant hair. This one did not have a mat. Call it hair. Next step. Let's get it on his head. And his hair does stick out a little ways because it goes over the cape. Now, MetaTailor could have done this for us, but Dead by Daylight does not use MetaTailor. They should. Absolutely should. Especially for all the characters and outfits they get in there. If you're watching, you work for Dead by Daylight, please reach out to us. I don't know if that's true. We would probably do wonderful for your game. Cool. Confirm. Next step. Boom. Hair sitting on top. You can see it sticking out a little bit because we got to go get that cape. You can see it's adjusting the collar for us. It's keeping that all under the hair very nicely. Let's get that cape. We can add a normal map to our cape. Just give it a little bit more depth. Now, personally, I wanted this to be a little bit more red. So in our future update, give it a little bit more like Doctor Strange vibe to it. For some reason, I felt like the cape should be red. I don't know why it's gray. I can't remember if it's gray in the show or not, but red just feels more appropriate. I'm going to call it a backpack for how it's going to sit on the character's back. I'm going to call that a backpack because we don't have cloak in here. We don't have cloak as an option, but I'm going to call it a backpack. That way, it kind of sits and moves and adjusts itself. It's not dissimilar to a backpack. A little bit bigger, so it can fit over the... I wanted to hit W for that, so it can fit over those shoulders. A little bit bigger. Down, back. Just rotated it a little bit. There we go. Start pose match. And so mostly for the pose match, I'm going to bring that chest in like we did The other parts of the arm, bring these arms down like this, bring them in a little bit, just so they can match right there. So you can see the arm, the hands look weird, but that's because the hands aren't part of this. Now I can hit preview pose wrap, and we can watch as that kind of gets pushed out a little bit better. Actually, if I wanted to, I could kind of do the same thing that I did with the arm. If I don't want these kind of in the way, I can give them little baby arms that go forward. That way, if I do my preview pose wrap, they don't really affect the cloak at all. They're affecting it a little bit, so let's bring those elbows a little bit farther forward, bring those hands a little bit farther forward. Only want it affected by those shoulders, preview pose wrap, there we go. So just a little bit of cheating. And cheating is the wrong term, but a little bit of cheating to make sure that that skin weighting stays proper. It goes up and above everything, but I want that below the hair. And there we go. Looking sharp, looking fancy, looking good. Now, what we're going to take a look at right now. The next thing, the last thing we're going to look at before we call the stream, we're going a little bit over time. That's fine. We usually try to stick it to about an hour. But the last thing we're going to look at is something we really haven't looked at yet in our pipeline, and that is gloves. I love gloves. And I found some really cool gloves with this character. So just your typical gloves right here. I can go to my textures. I can go to my, I think they fall into the torso portion just to give a little bit more depth. Nope. Oh no, you know what they are? They're under the arms. That's what they were under. Arms. There we go. A little bit more depth to those gloves. But that's because our gloves are really cool. This is a left hand. I had to think about that for a second because in the next step for our glove, it's going to ask us, hey, what is this? It's a glove. It's going to, hey, is this the left hand or the right hand? This is the left hand. So gloves are really cool. And whenever I get the chance to do gloves, I love to do gloves. They currently have to be fully fingered gloves. They need to have completely encase the hand. We don't have stuff to kind of do pads on top of the hand. You do that as a belt or as an accessory. We don't have anything for fingerless gloves. You would just erase the tips of these gloves to get your fingerless gloves. But so if you have a glove like this, like Alucard's glove that goes completely over the hand, especially as we get into these winter months, we want to keep our hands warm. The glove feature on here is absolutely amazing. Now, if you're still watching, we are riggers. We know how difficult it is to rig a hand. We know how long it takes to rig a hand. If I was to sit down and rig this hand so that this glove would work with skin weights and everything, it would take me about 2-3 hours. Just for a hand. Just for a hand. Just because of all the bones, controls, skin weighting, all that other stuff. Watch how quickly that MetaTailor does it. So it's asking for the hand. I like to start on the bottom of the hand. I like to aim for the bottom. Well, let's do that top of the hand. For this hand specifically, I want to do the top of the hand. Only because I'm thinking of how this hand works. So I'm going to kind of just get it into position. And MetaTailor tells you right here where it wants you to place that first joint, per se. It wants the wrist. So we'll set that right there on the wrist. And say, hey, let's start to do the thumb. We've got 4 joints in the thumb, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to set 1 right here. 2, I'm just looking for middle mass. 3, 4. Let's do the next finger. 1, 2, 3. Then the tip of the finger. 4, knuckle, 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 tip of the finger, knuckle, 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 tip of the finger, knuckle, 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 tip of the finger. And I was just aiming for center mass. And it's a little hard to see now that the body is in there. But what it has done is it has perfectly placed those joints in the center mass. If we can get that, I should have paused and taken a look at it while it was still in process. But look at that. This is the underside of the glove. It perfectly found center mass for all those fingers to get that hand rigged. Let's hit next step and watch how easily it puts this over the hand. This is a nice, clean, easy glove. It's matching all the fingers. We can put that under the coat. So the coat sits on top of it, so it's not affecting the coat. And let's just give it a little bit of thickness. Let's get a little bit of shrink wrap. A little bit of thickness. A little bit of shrink wrap. Lower the yield. You can see here playing with this a little bit more. Let's not lower the yield. Take that thickness down a little bit more. Take that shrink wrap up a little bit higher. Or shrink wrap down. Try to get that over this stuff. There it goes, there it goes, there it goes. You just got to clean up this finger right here. It's still wrapped around this finger really nicely. So I'll grab my brush. Push, pull. A little bit smaller because that brush is just too large. Just swell that finger, swell that finger. Probably turn my strength down a little bit. Confirm. A little bit of shrink wrap. Push pull. It's just because my strength's too high. I'm like playing against my strength slider. There we go. If I turn my strength slider down, it wouldn't do that. And we've got a glove, and we can mirror that over. Go to our viewport settings. Go to the pull rope. And those gloves are rigged to the hand. Simple glove rigging. Now, this only right now works on our character. If I throw this over onto another character, it will not work as easily. Or will not work at all currently on our other, like the Character Creator 5, human stuff like that. The glove rigging does not work. All the other rigging does, just not the glove rigging. So if I wanted to send this over, I would just clear the gloves. And let's swap avatar super easy. I've got this built onto this base avatar. Let's throw it onto, where's Big Kev? Cartoon Character 4. Pirate Body. Centaur Vampire. No. Where's Big Kev? Aaron, female. There he is. Big Kev from the Character Creator 4. Transfer it over. And with a simple click, I take it out of our MetaTailor avatar onto this Kevin avatar, who's a little bit more handsome, who's a little bit more Alucard built. Like so. I don't know why it's acting a little strange. Color-wise. It just feels like the colors are washed out. There he is. There's Big Kev. Hairs. Move back a little bit. Confirm. Where's that one? Torso. Oh, that's why. Torso 2. So that normal map on there. Torso 3. I forgot I had a couple extra things. I'm like, why is the color off? Maybe you fall under legs. Nope. Arms. Nope. Trying to find the right color. It looks like that UV got messed up when I was cleaning stuff up. We can also fix our arms. Legs, why are you all washed out? Still looking good. All right, there's our Alucard. Who else do we have? Who else can we throw this on? We can throw this on one of our metahumans. This is a metahuman pulled from Unreal. He's looking good. He's got everything on him. Shoes are a little bit big, have to adjust those shoes, but everything else is looking good. So let's go to an idle. And we got ourselves a handsome Twilight Vampire. Dial back before those hips were super kicked in. That's looking good. Little kick in the hips. All right. All right, well, that's it, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you for the small little hiccup at the beginning where I forgot to flip my camera over. But that is kind of the behind the scenes. That is how I would tackle this stuff in my day-to-day workflow. I brought in a couple characters, brought in a couple avatars, flipped stuff around, took a look at it. Now I can export it out, get it into Unreal, Maya, Blender, ZBrush, wherever I want to send it. I don't know why I would send it back to ZBrush, but I can send it wherever I want, to whatever DCC I want, to get this animated and working however I need to. So that's how easy it is to get these characters dressed and ready and good to go in MetaTailor. If you have any questions, concerns, quandaries, feel free to reach out on our Discord channel or reach out directly to me on Discord. My name is Mark on the Discord. I'm always happy to help with that. Let's go ahead and send you the Discord link one more time. Invite people. Let's kill that. Copy. And I just dropped the Discord link in our chat, so feel free to join us on our Discord channel where you'll get all the announcements for upcoming streams, videos, lives, all that stuff is on there. I don't know when the next live will be. I know we're taking a little break to meet up and kind of discuss the next steps, so keep an eye out on Discord for when I announce the next set of live streams and stuff like that. Best way to find that out is over Discord. Also, you can follow, like, subscribe on YouTube, hit that notification bell. That's another way to find out about any of the videos and stuff coming up like that. So, once again, thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you so much for getting these spooky outfits, these spooky characters in here, and I'll